Okay, so I just want to advertise work that lots and lots of different people have been doing recently on Cabal and Hackage and that kind of thing, including we have 3 Summer of Code students this summer who've been doing Cabal and Hackage things, which is really cool. And I just want to briefly advertise what they have been doing. I can't tell you the absolute latest because I've been on holiday for the last 3 weeks, and it sort of pens down at this point. But I encourage you to go find out the more details. I'll just give you a very quick summary. So we've got three projects. Nix-style package management in Cabal install, and some extensions to GHC as well. Package interfaces, which is a really interesting and useful thing, and improvements to the Hackage website, UI improvements. I'll tell you a little bit more details about all those 3 of those. Other ongoing work by other people. There's yet more, in addition to the Google Summer of Code chat, there's yet more Nix-style work in Cabal install that people are working on. People have been talking about this for ages, and we're actually finally doing it. Other things have been sort of posted recently, ideas for like taking Stackage, for example, and be able to host that on Hackage, and let other people host similar collections on Hackage. There was a spec for that posted recently. Other website improvements by other people, in addition to the Summer of Code chat. Package security course, which I talked about earlier. And there is, I think, going to be a hackathon in London. I'm not sure if it's been announced yet, Andres, has it? No. But we hope it's going to happen just next to the Haskell Exchange over the weekend, yeah. And the idea is it's going to be focused specifically on infrastructure. So people can come along, rather than a general purpose hackathon, you can do whatever you like. It's focusing on infrastructure. Anyway, let me briefly talk about the Summer of Code students, what they've been doing. So Vishal has been working on Nix-style stuff for Cabal install, stealing the ideas from Nix, which we've kind of been doing for a long time, but doing yet another step on that. So he's calculating Nix-style package IDs so that everything can be uniquely identified. Some groundwork for being able to do garbage collection, which Nix does. It collects packages that you don't need anymore, i.e. uninstallation. And he's currently got a beta version out at the moment. There's a blog post. Edward, I think you've got a blog post. He's got a blog post. It's on Reddit. Go and take a look at that and help Vishal test that out.
No reinstall at all.
Woohoo! Craig Roche has been... yeah, sort of, and I'll talk about stuff that I'm doing on that, which does do that, I think. This other cool project, which is about looking at package interfaces. This is not like Backpack, which is trying to do everything very precisely. This is more like just saying, do these interfaces match up to the kind of 95th percent for doing things like PVP checking or API diffing. How has the interface changed from this version to this version? So it's sort of covering kind of 90%. I don't know quite how far it's got, but the goal is ultimately to be able to do interface diffing and PVP checking. But the hard stuff is trying to identify and extract interfaces. So that's cool stuff. Lots of Hackage website things. DZAC, as he's called on IRC. He's already implemented upvotes, which needs to be better advertised. As Gershom pointed out earlier, he's also done this Google Juice stuff, rel, canonical links. Hopefully this is the idea to get Google to point at like the latest versions of our documentation rather than all the old versions. A sitemap is another way to get Google to point at the latest one. And yeah, as Gershom mentioned, he's making it easier to change the layout of the main package pages by converting it into templates rather than currently it's code. Which would then he's also got some visual improvements, which I've not yet reviewed, rearranging the page to make it cooler. One thing I want to talk about, because I'm working on it, is sort of redoing sandboxes within Cabal. So to make sandboxes no longer a separate thing, but in a way, a lot like what Stack is doing, right? Doing local builds by default, that should just be the default. Johan has gone on for years about how Cabal ought to be talking about multiple packages rather than a single package focused, like it was at the very beginning. And more reproducible, that it doesn't depend on what you installed earlier. And full Nix-style sharing of installed packages. And so there's a working prototype of that sitting on my laptop. And hopefully, along with Vishal's stuff, that will get us much closer to this kind of Nix-style ideas in Cabal. And I'm afraid I'm out of time. I would otherwise show you all the cool things that have happened on Hackage, but not enough time. question? Yeah, question right there. Oh, I don't know what the tools for Elm are like. The idea is that we're extracting like some kind of interface of what the package says that it exports, and so then you can compare, from one version of a package to another. Did it change, or have you violated the versioning policy? Or inferring what your version range is, for example, like the Cabal. That's another ultimate goal, but that's slightly further down the line. Because at the moment, it's hard to work out which versions what's the right version range without going and testing them all.
I just wanted to add that there is also a working proof of concept that free-based is useful for
What based? You mean SAT based? Oh, SMT based, right.
So I was just curious about that sort of version inference machine learning. I have a number of cases where I'll relax a constraint between a version and a minor version. Strictly accept more cases.
Yeah.
Right? That kind of thing. That start triggering EVP violation warning.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
So that's something that I'd be worried about.
I mean, these are all sort of. Anyway, thank you very much.